G'day guys and girls, quick little disclaimer before we get this video underway. This isn't a video about bagging the Mahindra out or the S11 out or anything else like that. This is simply a comparison video on how we found the S11 versus our 21 model S10. And believe it or not, there's not actually that much difference in them. There's things like AdBlue, bit of engine calibration through to the gearbox with that auto on it, and a few minor little bits and pieces. But apart from that, they are, you know, near identical. So this isn't a big don't buy Mahindra video or anything else like that. I reckon you should go and buy an S11. I reckon they're a great little machine. 90% of the people that buy an S11 won't have a drama with it. Where we have problems with it is because of what we need to do with it, and what we are doing with ours full off-road, in that whether the automatic is capable of doing that full off-road work of what we ask of it, and simple answer is no. So we didn't do 45,000 k of testing with it. We did you know, a little bit down the paddock, bit half an hour of driving around and stuff like that, where the missus got the feel of it and just went, yeah, this ain't right. It needs to be better. So this isn't one of those videos where I'm just going to bag the crap out of it. It's a great little ute. You should go and buy one. So hope you enjoy the video, guys. Cheers. G'day guys and girls, welcome back to another episode. Well, today we've got our hands on a brand new little S11 dual cab. I'm going to take him for a bit of a spin. Mindy's in getting service, so Alex at Oswide, Bundaberg Mahindra there, gave us the S11 to take for a test drive, do a little bit of four-wheel driving, and compare the two. So I'll do a full rundown on it and compare this one 2 hours and see what the big difference is. Try this automatic out. Righto, we'll drop him into low range, four-wheel drive, first gear, and we'll smack up this bit of a bank and see how he goes. Righto, we'll try down here. We'll lock him into first gear, go up in second and see how much he runs away on second gear, or whether it pulls it up on compression. It doesn't seem to stop at all, does it? Yeah, it didn't seem to want to pull it up much on compression. So in the Colorado, if you were to back him down through the gears like that, it will definitely pull that vehicle up under compression. This little bugger seems to run away, so we'll just try the ABS out on this old girl. works really well, really well. Pulls it up, there was no carrying on, it just did what it needed to do, it stopped directly in a straight line. Yeah, it still had plenty of steering under it, so that was good. Tick 1 for the ABS. Righto guys and girls, first impression of the little Mahindra S11. Good little ute. Are you alright, g'day? Fixing your motorbike. Good little ute. Tried that auto out on a couple of occasions. A few things I liked, a few things I didn't like. Didn't like how it didn't lock in gear properly and hold that gear properly. How if you accelerate, it will jump up through its gears while it's locked in manual mode. When you're going down hills, say you lock him into second gear, she'll still keep running instead of using that engine braking to pull it up, that compression. So the Colorado does a hell of a lot better job in that situation compared to that gearbox. The good thing about it is this little auto, they in this setup, you know, they tend to just creep up through the forward driving stuff, which is really neat. You know, like everyone used to hate auto gearboxes years ago, but in forward driving situations, I'd rather an auto any day. It's bloody more composable. You know, you're not just off the clutch and boom, and away you go. You can ease this one through stuff a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, so the auto is not too bad. It won't hold 6th gear at 80k an hour, where the manual you can just ease him off at, you know, country roads and stuff like that, and you're in 6th gear just cruising along. This one won't hit 6th gear until you're about 92k an hour, which was a bit odd. But apart from that, it's the auto's pretty good in them. I like them. A few things that they are typical Mahindra in every way, these things, when they come out standard, and you realise how much modifications that you do to yours, that you can change these dramatically, how much better you can make them. The standard Mahindra stuff, like, you know, this thing just jammed in the back of the rear seat because I got nowhere to put it. Wheel spanner floating around under the rear seat and under the bloody passenger seat. This bar that is for the spare tyre to come down, that just floats in and out of here, rattling around all the time, and that's ridiculous. You know, like if I was to have a crash in one of these things, you got shit flying around all through the cabin, and that's unacceptable, eh? Mahindra need to really bolt that stuff down. You got so much room under that seat, behind the seat, that you can bolt it in properly, and you should, because that's friggin' dangerous and stupid. But anyway, you get what you pay for sometimes. The nose cone on these, we went forward driving there before, and you can't really compare this to ours in forward driving when we've modified it, lifted it. Bull bar makes a big difference. These nose cones are so close to the ground. You can't approach anything or go up it really well. Side steps are gonna wipe out real easy because it's not lifted yet. Side steps themselves, if you have a look at that, guys, there's bugger all foot you can actually get on that. The kids are having trouble getting in and out of this thing because you couldn't get enough foot on the edge of it to climb up it. The tubs on these things, they serve a purpose, and that's about it. They are, to me, just really, you know, you're going to wipe that thing out. They're no good for forward driving, I can tell you that. You rip them off in a heartbeat if you're forward driving. But for a basic little work ute, what they are, good little package the way it is. The auto seems to work very well with the engine in most occasions. The cruise control seems to still not understand what the engine and gearbox is doing. But no, she's actually, as a package, it's a good little ute still. And just needs some modifications. If I was going to buy one, if you had an S10 and an S11 lined up next to each other, which one would I take? I'd take the S10 every day. Simple fact is, the auto is good. It's not the best auto I've ever driven. The AdBlue in this thing is a pain in the bum. If you go to, you know, muck around with them all the time, where you've got to take it in, get it topped up. They're supposed to do it at every service. That's if it makes the service. There's no gauge on the dash to show you how much you're putting in it, or what's left. Only when it pops up with you've got, say, 2,000 k to go before you empty or something like that, it does. But it's expensive, you know. You got it. It's another cost you've got to fork out at your service to put AdBlue in and to get your bloody code deleted off the dash. Yeah, hate the AdBlue. It's a answer to a problem Mahindra never had, in my own personal opinion. I can understand the green movement and the Euro 6 compliance and all the other stuff, but sometimes it's just a pain in the bum. But anyway, unfortunately, it's how every vehicle's going to go in this diesel stuff these days. But yeah, no, I just think these could be so much better if tweaked a little bit, you know. Apart from that, we've got him for a day or so, and take him for a bit more of a spin. Righto, so Mrs. just got home from work and took the little S11 for a spin. Arguably, you've probably driven a Mahindra off-road more than most people in Australia. What do you reckon of it?
It's not too bad. The gearbox is smooth and comfortable to. It is comfy to drive. Don't like the side steps, because if you're disabled or anything, you wouldn't be able to get in properly.
They are very under the vehicle, aren't they?
They are, like, there's no...
Like, there's pulse there compared to the standard steel ones that are out wider. A bit more.
So it's hard to get in the passenger side, and the seat is very high.
The seat is very bloody high. I don't know whether you can adjust that passenger side one down, but it is very high. Big question, what do you reckon of that automatic gearbox?
It's actually quite nice. It's smooth. It is actually very smooth and quite easy to drive. It gets up, goes okay. The only thing I probably don't like is I wouldn't own one for four-wheel driving, because you can't hold it in the gear you want. You want first gear or you want second gear to go through mud or sand. It doesn't do it. The more you rev it, it picks up another gear.
For instance, that rock climbing that we were doing the other day,
I reckon
where you were not quite full throttle, but you were fair up him,
it would have.
The automatic would have been jumping up gears while you were trying to climb that, where you don't want it to jump up a gear. You want it to hold the rev in a higher gear.
You can put that in manual mode. It's not manual mode.
No,
literally not manual mode. The Colorado, I want first gear or second gear. It stays in that gear regardless of how many revs you give it. Yeah,
and we did try it in two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive and low-range four-wheel drive, and it doesn't matter. If you lock that thing in gear, it will just keep jumping up through the gears, even in low range.
It's fourth gear
in low range. Yeah, fourth gear in low range in a short period of time, and you don't want that. Sometimes you want to be able to lock it in second gear low range.
To keep that momentum.
And keep the momentum up, keep your power up, but all of a sudden she'll be up into another gear. And
it went up the gears quite smooth.
Yeah,
but you don't want it to change gears.
Especially when you're up through rock or
sand, mud,
yeah, stuff like that, where you want momentum but you don't want speed, if you know what I mean. That sounds a bit silly, but you want to be able to keep your momentum going, but you don't want it to be jumping up in the gear and then go, oh well, I haven't got enough power, or I've got too much speed going, and now I've got to back it off and it's got to drop back a gear. That is a bit of a pain in the bum with that auto gearbox. But apart from that, it is a very nice little gearbox.
It is.
Good for driving down the road, doing the highway stuff and everything else.
My bung foot is actually quite nice.
yeah, that is one advantage with your bung foot. So apart from that, it's felt, you know, very standard compared to our modified one.
Yeah.
But
the manual and the auto, yes, there is the big difference. I was looking for a clutch.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you what, it'll be a good little bloody...
Good city car.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, they would be perfect for a city or just along a country road.
Yep.
They would be perfect for that.
Yep.
For just the cruising around.
Yeah.
They would be perfect.
But it is a good little platform where, you know, imagine if you had our tray on the back of it, bull bar on the front, because honestly these front ends, you sell them as a four-wheel drive, but that
I don't know what that is.
Even when we went off the road, like we went off the road, parked up on the grass, just coming back on the road again, Mary was worried about just ripping the front nose cone off, and you shouldn't be worried about ripping your nose cone off in a four-wheel drive, you know.
It was just grass.
Yeah, and it was just grass.
Road,
so yeah, the way they've got that so low in this front end now, it's a little bit silly, but all up, S11. If you had an S11 and an S10 parked next to each other, which one would you take?
I'd take the S10 any day.
Same here.
One for what we do.
Yeah, same here. For what we do, we'd take it S10. Good little ute, good little gearbox in them.
Great, as I said, great for if you just want to travel the highways.
Yep. The fuel economy was pretty good in it.
Not too bad.
The fuel economy was good in it, and just the more drivability. It felt more car-like.
It did.
But that's where you're going to struggle. I think Mahindra will struggle. If they go and turn this thing into a car,
it's going to wreck it.
It's going to wreck it, because you've got other competitors out there, GWM and who's that other one, Sanyong and stuff like that, where they're more car-based focused. And if you're going to,
is very car.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've sat in one. They are very car-like on the interior. They're not. So, if Mahindra tries to turn this thing into a car, and you were looking for a dual cab ute to drive around as a car, I'd take one of the others any day. Yeah.
Any day. Yeah. Because these are good, but they're not car-like like the others. You know, the others are more comfortable. They have more power. They're just a better car compared to these being a little four-wheel drive ute, which they should stay as a little farm ute. That's where Mahindra have that niche, I reckon, with the farmers and stuff like that. If you go try and turn this thing into a car, I don't know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Anyway, guys.
It's a good car.
Yeah.
It is pretty good for an auto.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Righto, guys and girls, thanks for watching. Quick little review on it, and we'll hand him back tomorrow. And ours is in for a service, so once we get it back off Alex from Oswide four-wheel drive or Bundaberg Mahindra, we'll get ours back tomorrow, hand the keys back on this one, and get back and do a bit more serious off-roading.
See how we go.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.